Hi, I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner and one of your co-hosts for the Melanin Initiative. We recently aired an episode on patient advocacy, and we were asked to elaborate further, so I'm here to talk about it. In fact, I think I'm going to start what I'm going to call one topic at a time and just come on here for a few minutes and talk about one topic at a time. And it goes along with our whole theme of not giving too much information at one time. Because as you know, especially if you've listened to any of the episodes, we believe that sometimes in healthcare, we often give too much information and not enough time. Hence the TMI, the Melanin Initiative. So, one topic at a time. Today, that topic is going to be advocacy. So, the first thing I want to mention about why advocacy is important. So, anytime we have a conversation, whether that's in healthcare, intimate relationships, or even at work, we only are going to remember 30% roughly of what someone tells us. The other 70% is going to come from what we call nonverbal communication. So that's how you are perceiving the messages I'm sending from my body. If I have my arms folded, if I'm constantly checking the clock or looking at my watch, the tone of my voice, the volume, whether you find it to be comforting, kind, condescending, all those things are going to influence the experience that you have when we interact. And that stays with you and has a much bigger impact than anything I really say. It's going to determine whether or not you want to talk to me again, whether you want to see me again, whether you want to, whether you're interested, whether you think you can even trust me to engage in those type of conversations. So when we talk about patient advocacy and we're talking about the clinical setting, usually we're talking about, the provider is giving information and you as the patient, you're receiving that information, but you're also informing me too, right? Because what I always say is we might be experts in healthcare, in physiology, pathophysiology, psychiatry, psychology, but you are an expert in your body. And that's why you're just as much of the team as we are. Your input is invaluable. We really need to know your experience, right? It helps inform our decision making, the decision that we're going to make together. So in patient advocacy, if you have someone there whose whole goal is to represent your best interests. So while you might remember 30%, they're going to remember another 30%. That's 60% of a conversation. They might take away something from it that you didn't get. They might think of questions to ask. They might be more comfortable in that kind of setting to ask questions, to engage in really difficult or sensitive topics. If you're the one receiving the information and you have any sort of anxiety or sadness or even fear associated with this visit or other things going on in your life, that's going to impair how much you're able to receive and participate even more. And so that advocate, depending on the relationship, they might not have the same emotions invested. So they might be able to be more attentive or just provide a different perspective. Also, this could be someone who knows you really well and can just speak on your behalf. So again, that advocate could be a loved one. It could be friends or family. It could also be someone who gets paid to do that. That could be their actual job. So a lot of healthcare entities provide that as something that they can offer to you, particularly hospitals. Some hospitals post the information up so that you can access it without even having to engage in the staff. In other hospitals, you might have to speak up and ask about how do you get an advocate or how do you get a patient advocate involved. Go back and check out episode 4 where we provided some other examples and what that experience looks like, particularly in the hospital setting. Just to recap, an advocate has your best interests in mind. They can sit in on appointments with you. They can help absorb some of the information that you might not be able to get all on your own. They can lend their own experience and expertise to the conversation. They could not attend the meeting. They could simply support you by being your ride, being a listening ear. One of the most important times to have an advocate, to have an established advocate, is when you're in the hospital and you cannot speak for yourself. You can have this person who knows you well, who knows your wishes, who's going to respect your wishes and follow through on those wishes on your behalf until you're able to do so on your own. And in the event that that does not occur, at least you know that your voice is still being heard and is still part of the conversation. I think if there's any time that I find advocacy to be of utmost importance, it is in those times specifically. If you have any other questions about advocacy, please let me know. I'll put our contact information in the description box. We'll answer them either directly through these topics at a time on our Instagram or in future episodes on the podcast. Thank you for watching.